drilled team, and that's the problem you have. So you need to be creative, but to break them down is really tricky. They don't concede a lot of shots on target. That's the thing. One of the issues we have to find solutions for. But that's exactly why we meet at Saturday afternoons, that we find solutions for these kind of things, and it will be again, thank God, then not for a while, but the last home game for a few days, for 10 days or so, or longer. But it is a home game, and I hope we really use that and enjoy that and create the right atmosphere, because that will be essential. That when you need to be ready to lose balls in tricky moments against Southampton because of the organisation. Then in the idle world you win them back immediately. If not, then you will face a counter-attack or whatever. But they are not only a counter-attacking team. With the possession they have, they do some smart stuff. Really active fullbacks, good footballing, wingers who come more or less inside, play in the half spaces. Whoever will be the strikers, but all of them good on the ball, a proper threat, and that's it. It's a good football team, I have to say. But the Premier League is that strong that even if you're a good football team, you are not then in the top part of the table. You still have to fight for each point. But that's what Southampton is doing, and so yeah, we know about the job, what we have to do. And the big advantage they obviously have is that they didn't play midweek. We did, and we always said Wednesday, Saturday is not the best rhythm, but it's the rhythm we have, and so we need to be as refreshed and as recovered as somehow possible, and then be ready for a proper fight.
You mentioned there the Premier League is strong. We expect another arrival in the Premier League, somebody you know quite well. Ralph Rangnick is set to take over at Manchester United for the remainder of the season. Are you looking forward to his arrival in the Premier League, and how do you think he will fare? You obviously know him well enough.
I do. So it's a bit tricky. So like talking, usually we don't talk about things. They are not confirmed yet. But if you tell me that will happen, then I might believe you. Yeah. Unfortunately, a good coach is coming to England, so that's how it is to Manchester United. So Ralph is obviously a really experienced manager, built most famously two clubs from nowhere to proper threats and proper forces in Germany with Hoffenheim and Leipzig. Did a lot of different jobs in football, and now, but it was always his first concern was always being a coach, actually being a manager, and that's what his best skill is, obviously. Yeah, United will be organised. I think on the pitch, I think we should realise that, and that's obviously not good news for other teams. But all coaches in the world, we need time to train with our teams, and Ralph will pretty quick realize he has no time to train because they play all the time. So that makes it a bit trickier for him. But apart from that, a really good man and an outstanding coach is, if it happens, will come to England.
Thank you. We go to Ian on the Zoom, on the television, for 2 questions. Ian?
Thanks, Max. Jurgen, I wonder, I know it's not happened yet, not been confirmed, but just speaking sort of generally about Ralph's influence, how highly is he regarded in Germany, and how much of an influence did he have on your coaching career and philosophy?
In between the coaches, very highly regarded, obviously. Don't ask me about the other stuff, I don't know exactly, but he did incredible jobs. It started early as a very young man at Stuttgart, coaching the second team, going from there. I don't know all the early clubs he had not, but I'm pretty sure he went then to Ulm, brought them to the Bundesliga, which was absolutely insane that time, and then made his way up from there. We faced each other first time, really. I was a very young coach when he was in Hanover, he might have forgotten that, but they played always our opponent a week later, so he called me, the young manager of Mainz, and asked plenty of questions. I was happy that Big Ralph Rangnick was calling me, but he got all the information he needed. They got promoted, we didn't, so he owes me still something. And apart from that, really, in the football world in Germany, he's very well regarded, and rightly so.
Talking about your team at the moment, what sort of a decision have you got at left back, considering Kostas Tsimikas' performances this season? You said before you've got lots of decisions to make, which is a good thing, but at left back in particular, how much is he pushing Andy Robertson?
He's pushing, but I don't see it as pushing in that sense. Robbo is Robbo, and Robbo, it's a bit strange that people constantly forget how good Robbo is in these moments, just because Kostas is good as well. Thank God he's good as well. Imagine that. We would have a proper problem there. So it's much better than it was before, when we had no real solution and Millie had to play there, which he did exceptionally well. Now we have different solutions. That's good. We have now, of course, Kostas as well, and we have Owen Beck coming up, a real prospect. And so that's good for us. But I don't doubt Robbo at all. You saw Robbo coming on. When he came on last game, he didn't play that game because if he plays the game after his little injury, he couldn't. Well, there was no chance to play the next one. So we shared a bit the intensity between the two of them. Really happy about the development of Kostas. Really happy, but Robbo is Robbo and is an outstanding player. And if he has whatever had, I don't know if he had drops here and there in performance, it doesn't change my mind, because you cannot trust people today and then don't trust them the next day. You have to show these kind of things, and then you get in the long term the best out of players, and that's why it's not a difficult decision there to make. But really happy that Kostas shows up like he showed up. That I have to say, he's an outstanding player. Robbo needed half a year, Kostas needed around about a year. So that's how it is. But now we see we see really how good he is, and it's very good news for us.
Okay, we'll go to Julia in the room, then we'll go to Ian on the Zoom, and then we'll go to Julia.
Jurgen Ralph Hasselhoff in the build-up to this has said that Liverpool are back to their best as we knew Liverpool were before, obviously last season, with key players being back as well. But how do you measure your best? What would be your best?
To be where we want to be, we need a good balance in the team. We need just to make. So now again, we score each game 2 goals, but a week before we spoke about how many goals we conceded, even if it's not a crazy number, but for a team on the top of in that region around the top of the table, we conceded in some games too many. That's how it is, and that's why that's what we need to be. We need to be a well-balanced team, that we really take all the necessary risk for our offensive stuff, but be protected as good as possible. We need a high last line. We need not high for being high, but as high as possible. All these kind of things. We need to be at our absolute best in the defensive part of the game, and there's counter pressing involved as well. So then we are really difficult to play. If we are only one of the 3 or one of the 2, then we have weaknesses, too many weaknesses for this league, and that's why we try to work on. We don't feel at all that we arrived somewhere. We just feel on the way, and that's for us completely fine. I don't compare us with the team last year or with the team the year before. I just want to be as good as possible now.
Thanks, Juliet. We'll go to Ian Abrams, and then we'll go to James from BBC Merseyside. Ian.
Hi Jurgen, how are you?
Good. Hi, Ian.
I think as we saw this week with yourselves and Chelsea and Manchester City, the Premier League now has 3 of the best teams in Europe, if not the world at the moment, and you're involved in this title race with Chelsea and Manchester City. How much is this now the best Premier League ever, and how much has it evolved from the 2-team challenge every season to now maybe 3 since you arrived?
Massively. Premier League made steps every year, so you can see it. But it's not about City, Chelsea, and us, or other top teams. The improvement of the league you see in the positions slightly below, especially. I think the way Brighton is playing, meanwhile, is absolutely exceptional. Aston Villa is an incredible team. So Man United, we know all about the power. Tottenham, maybe some problems at the moment, but incredibly strong on their day, and they will be back again. Arsenal's playing that sensational football. Wolves plays, and after maybe a tricky start, an outstanding season. So, and I forgot 100% already a team. So that means just the league is so strong. Meanwhile, I couldn't believe. Years ago that it will be like this, to be honest. So it's really tough, but it's of course very exciting as well. So I think it is the best league since I'm here, for sure. In the last 6 years, this is now the best league we had so far. But it's not because of the three up there. So it's because of the general strength of the teams in the league.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go to James Martin from Merseyside, then to Carl Markham from Press Association, and I think then we go to our embargo section for those of you that unless there's any questions in the room before that. James.
Jurgen, you've spoken about what you need to do to stay in the title race. How key is it to keep Thiago fit to do that? And I wondered if you could give us an insight into how you manage him to maintain his fitness.
Thiago's an incredibly good player for us, of course, but we found solutions when he was not available, and we have to find solutions. It's not about one player out or in. We have the quality of our team when they